Good evening, everybody. Well, I thought I would shake things up a little bit tonight because I have been talking at all of you for almost 3 months. So tonight I thought I would ask you some questions and see who's on and who might respond. But tonight we're going to talk about best advice ever and worst advice ever that you've been given. And I have a couple of things that I can mention, but I'm very curious about what you might write down. Who gave you your best advice ever, and do you still live by it? And who might have given you the worst advice ever? And hopefully you're not living by that worst advice anymore. So I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with that, but if you comment during the talk tonight, I'll be able to see that, and we'll sort of have an interactive conversation, and everybody else will too. So, give it a try and let me know. Best advice ever that you've been given, and worst advice ever that you've been given. So I'll start with my best advice ever given to me, and it was by this lady. This is my great Aunt Faye. Oops, it's falling off here. She is no longer physically on this earth. She left a little while ago, but she was my grandpa's sister on my dad's side. So she was a Van Brunt. She was a cute little Dutch lady, and she was the only sister of 7 brothers and a sister. So a farm family out in the middle of the rural area of Okanagan. So she moved to Seattle and worked at the University of Washington, and her husband was an attorney. And when I first moved to Seattle to go to nursing school, I didn't know anybody in Seattle. I was from this small town, and I had a couple of great girlfriends from high school that went to Seattle for school as well, so we did have that connection. We just weren't in the same college. But other than that, no family over there. So my great aunt took me in, and she invited me over for dinner often while I was in school, nursing school, and taught me how to make pie, apple pie, and was just a really great person, very wise person. She believed that this was her last time on earth, that she was one of those wise old souls. So she had a lot to share, and she had a lot of really good things to share. But as she got older, so did I, married, children. Then I started to spend a lot more time with her. I would take her to lunches, and I would just kind of hang out, just her and me. And her advice to me was to always trust your gut and learn to trust your gut. And she would say, honey, you can't hesitate. Don't hesitate longer than 5 seconds. You know what to do. You know the right answer. You've just got to learn to trust your gut. That was the best advice I was ever given, because it does hold true. However, that 5-second rule is pretty hard. And so that's my don't advice, is do not wait more than 5 seconds to make a decision, because what happens is fear gets in the way. And so then it slows you down, and you talk yourself out of it, or you decide, maybe you just decide it's too scary. But for whatever reason, waiting longer than 5 seconds is a bad idea. So she was the giver of really great advice for me. So curious if anybody out there, you maybe have to respond after the close of the live and give me some great comments, but I'm very curious from people tonight on, what's the best advice you were ever given, and who was it from, maybe, relative, best friend. So that's what I'm looking for. So the worst advice that I was ever given was from a family member, and the worst advice was to just don't look at them or don't listen to them, just ignore them. And I have found that to be not a great piece of advice for anybody as we've gotten older. It's really, really hard to ignore somebody. What happens is, what you're really avoiding is having a difficult conversation with somebody. So maybe they've upset you, maybe they said something, so maybe they're a bully, maybe they're being mean to somebody else, but ignoring somebody's bad behavior is really bad advice. I think we owe it to all of the people out there that just try to be better people and that just try to get along and try to make the world a better place to live. I think we owe it to all of ourselves and everybody around us to speak up. So that would be my piece of worst advice I'd ever been given, is to just ignore the person, or don't pay attention to them. Don't let them upset you. Kind of all the same things. Pretty impossible to do. All right, well, that's my, I was a little early tonight. That is my live for the night, and you do have the ability to comment after the live closes. So I really hope to hear from a lot of you on best advice you were ever given, whether it was a do or a don't, and the worst advice you were ever given, whether it was a do or a don't. And we'll continue this string of conversation back and forth over the next few days. All right, everybody, have a great evening, and I will talk to you on day 5 tomorrow.